Well, everyone, welcome.
Well, Tyler.
How is everybody?
Very well.
Good. Just remind me, is this your first time?
It is. Well, my
Okay.
second, because I came this morning too.
I know. We'll address that. And also, okay, everybody else.
What about you?
Is this your first time as well? Second. I thought you were here last time. So, all right. Well, welcome everybody. Happy Tuesday. So what's going on? What's on everybody's mind? Who wants to start? Questions? Yes.
What is the situation with hot water on the third floor in Bradford?
Hot water on the third floor. So I was made aware of that yesterday. So what Liv is asking about is hot water on the third floor of Bradford Terrace in the memory area. And apparently it was lukewarm.
Yes.
And so Mark went upstairs to address that yesterday morning. And to my knowledge was resolved because I didn't hear follow-up. But I will follow up.
Well, I'll be going up there later, so and you'll hear from me.
And I love when I do, Liv, so I appreciate that. But no, I believe it's resolved. I do know there's some chairs back there. It is not related to the construction.
Okay.
So I do want to make sure, because I know that was kind of the rumor on the street. The water, there was one shutdown that occurred about last week.
Yeah,
late for about
told about it.
couple hours, 3 hours, for some work that needed to be done. But that was since resolved, and again, we just went through our state survey on our 4th and 5th floors of our health center last week, Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
They do water testing, and we have to meet a certain temperature. And if we meet it on the 5th floor, I assure you we met it on the 3rd floor, because it's one system. And we didn't get any citation or any tag for the water temps on our 5th floor. So again, as soon as I was made aware of that, I circled back and Mark went up there yesterday. So I assume it was resolved,
Okay.
but would love to hear from you. And if it's not, obviously, if it is, I'd love to hear from you as well. So, but I will also verify. So I gave Lindsay that.
Thank you.
Yeah. What else?
So, I'm on the wellness committee and what's called the health committee for many years. However, tomorrow is a wellness day.
Yep.
And I wasn't aware of it. Who's head of it?
So that we'll talk a little bit about Wellness Day, but that kind of leads into some other conversations that have been happening throughout the castle as well as kind of the communications. So we'll just kind of take that on. As many of you were here at 10 a.m. this morning for the coffee with Tyler, and of course now we came back for the second round. No, I'm just kidding. We didn't do anything at 10 because it was at 2. At least that's what was on my schedule. So, and again, so first the Wellness Day, that was really focused with Willie and Stacy. But in hearing it, it sounds like there was some loss in communication about what the day was, what it's intended for, and things of that nature. And so, again, I know that there's posters and things of that, but I don't know how well advertised it was or what the message was for tomorrow's Wellness Day, and also what committees it kind of ran through or didn't run through.
Was it brought up at council, at resident council?
It was not. So this was more of an East Castle initiative as opposed to a wellness committee initiative, if that makes sense. So coming out of Willie and the Fitness Center.
I just want to say that the advertising on that was horrible.
Yeah.
When it did come out, it was late. It was like a day or two before. Yes, tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
It was such fine print, and it was a whole page of very light, small print. And now I noticed in the elevator, in the D elevator, they're running, posters along the wall, and now they're taping posters up above that. Now, I'm short, but you'd have to be pretty darn tall to see that. So, but I just want to say that there is a communications committee here,
Mm-hmm.
and it's chaired by
Joe
Joe
Schmidt.
Schmidt,
Yep.
and I'm on that committee. Jim, you're on that, Jim Price
Yeah.
on the committee, and a number of other people.
Yep.
And those are all those communications
Yep.
issues we're addressing.
Yes, and so thank you, because you brought my to kind of the next point is there is a recent communications committee. There's always been one part of the council, but it's kind of transformed a little bit into exactly what we're talking about the communication that's coming, whether that's from the resident events, resident-driven events, for instance, Earth Week, I'll use as an example, or the communication that's coming from the activities team, for instance, and what's being communicated and how that's being communicated. What are the modes, as well as the accuracy, as well as the how behind it. So, I think that's where, and Stacey and I had this conversation on Monday, and obviously it's kind of picked up some steam here as of late. And something that, Stacey and I will continue to work through. And I just say Stacey, but obviously there's other communications from other departments as well. But I do know I was on that email chain as well, and I appreciate that, so that we can kind of figure out the best avenue to be more concise and consistent with accurate information that is given to you as residents. So, this morning was an example of, it was posted on the monthly at 10 a.m. I had it on my calendar for 2 p.m. And since it's coffee with Tyler and Tyler's not here, it's just kind of coffee. So it didn't work as well. So I appreciate everybody's patience as we work through that. I know that this is not a new issue. I know that this is not a new concern that has been brought up, even previous to Stacey. And so, I think now is the time and the opportunity to fine tune that. Obviously, there's a lot of changes that are coming up, and so I want to make sure that we do have good communication with you as residents as to what those changes are, how they're going to affect you. That's why I put out the weekly memo, and hopefully individuals are reading that. If not, obviously trying to put it out in simpler and more apparent. So hopefully you all know June 6th is a pretty big date around here.
D-Day.
I know, unfortunately it is D-Day.
What is it?
So June 6th is when the dining program and the dining room shuts down.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we're changing the whole dining program and activities program and different things of that nature. June 1st, next Wednesday, is when the front desk will start their transition, so that doesn't all happen on June 6th as well. So we'll have a little bit of a change, as well as then Lila, Famata, the weekend staff can get acclimated to that. But essentially then the front desk goes down on June 6th as well. So that's why we're trying to get ahead of that a little bit. Yes.
Same kind of thing, but do you have more than one person working on the same information? I'm asking because yesterday the luncheon, we went out to lunch in a hotel, and the schedule said 11:30. When we signed up, at the top it said bus leaves at 11, lunch at 11:30. Out of 10 or 12 of us, 2 of us read it on there, and we're there waiting. And all I think, maybe 2 different people did the sheet and could that be it? It really was not a good situation.
And
that happened too with the bus to the symphony. It said one thing on the sheet and it said another thing on the sign-up. It was 2 different times.
And I don't know if it's because different people do them or what, but it's very confusing.
Right. So again, I think having the communications committee will definitely help in that. Again, the large in part comes out of the activities department, community life department. But again, I'm not going to put that all on Stacey by any means. Again, a lot of that obviously filters back up through me and making sure that the proper support is given and proper processes are given. So and I'm not going to lie, that has not been my focus or attention in recent weeks. But at the same time, I do know that we can do a better job in making sure that the communication is much more clear, because I also did see that we had a lunch outing. It was at 11:30, but then if somebody's reading lunch out at 11:30, it's be at the front desk at 11:30 and get on the bus. Then if you're signing up, bus was at 11, lunch is actually at 11:30. So again, I think it's just those nuances. So.
And again, I thought two of us were gonna be on the van or the bus, that would have been interesting.
Yeah. So.
And Stacy did end up having to take some people, so.
Right. So, again, I think at the end of the day, Botana's was where everybody went, right?
Yeah, we all got there and ate.
And we all got there and ate.
I
But
just wondered if two different departments were involved.
I don't think it's two different departments. It's all underneath one department. It could be two different people within that department.
Okay.
But again, that's where it's really up to kind of Stacy, myself, and working through what that looks like. And again, support of the communications committee, because ultimately, if we think we're communicating well and you all don't, we missed the boat, right? So, and that goes for some of the information that I put out too. I think it's very well communicated. And what I've been having to do is actually put it away for about 15 minutes and relook at it and then be like, yeah, that's great that I told everybody at 3 o'clock to be there, but where's there, And in my mind, it's like, well, duh, Tyler, it's in the club room. You know that. Do the people that need to know? No. And so I think it's just some of that. And I think a lot of it is just slowing down, and again, that's where I know for me, it's taking that little extra time to review it and not just hit print and put it out in a rush. It's just, again, going back to what's on everybody's plates and trying to accommodate. So.
Well, I always found the best thing to do is to have somebody who doesn't know what it's about read it.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. And I think that hopefully will be part of that communications committee, that as the weeklies or as the monthly calendar coming out and saying, okay, what doesn't make sense, or does this all make sense? Well, it's great that you have 3 o'clock, but are we leaving at 3 or is lunch at 3? And if lunch is at 3, what time do we have to sign up at the bus? So yeah. All right. So much more to come on the communication side. Obviously, we do have a State of the Castle at 1 o'clock on Thursday, and so we'll walk through. I'm sure that question will be there, and we'll kind of walk through that. But know that, again, I have full confidence in Stacy and the department to kind of clean up. I won't say we're going to be 100% all the time. I don't think that's necessarily your expectation. Obviously, we want to get there, but I think we definitely have to do a lot better than what we've done, if that makes sense. So again, human mistakes do happen, no matter how many times you can look at something. But I think, we have to be in that more, at least 9 out of 10 range. So, and I don't think we're there. So we will be.
At
We
the
will be.
board meeting with the directors,
Yep.
it was said that if your destination is more than 10 miles, you will be charged. My question is, how much are you charged after 10 miles? Is it per mile, or does it start from, how are you going to do that?
Yeah, and again, that isn't really set in stone, because again, it could be set in stone, but then you get gas prices the way they are, and
Yeah,
things
no,
of
I
that nature. So,
understand, I'm just asking the question.
but usually it's just an overall trip charge. So it's an extra $5 to go 15 miles, an extra $10, as opposed to it's $1 per mile or anything like that. It's more of just a general
I
charge.
understand that, absolutely. However, sometimes I get a lift
Mm-hmm.
from here to there,
Mm-hmm.
and from there to here. Then do I pay the whole lift thing if it's medically related?
If it's medically related and we could not accommodate, but you put in the request prior to 48 hours,
Yes.
then yes, we would cover the
Even though it's more than 10 miles?
Correct.
Okay.
Where are you going, man?
Oh, I don't know.
No,
I
just
have
kidding.
a couple,
Yeah.
my dentist I've been going to for 100 years. I'm not going to change.
No?
And, he might be 12 miles. I don't know, I never clocked it.
We'll drop you off at 10 and make you walk.
Yeah, I could do that. But I couldn't walk the 12 miles.
Yeah, so we'll get you almost all the way there, 10 miles until the lift to stop, wherever you are.
Okay,
They'll take you from there. And then you have to walk back, and then we'll
Pick you up there again.
Stay within that 10 miles.
There'd be a lot of fit people.
Yeah, it's part of the wellness program. So no. What else? What other questions are there?
I'm not gonna ask them all. What's the situation with the salons now, the beauty salons?
July. So again, that was going to be brought
What
up.
did she say?
So the question was about the salons.
Oh.
And that will be actually reported at the State of the Castle. And again, that falls squarely on these shoulders. So we contracted with the salon back in February. And then through that process, they felt they were able just to renew their license because they were gone for less than 6 months. The state came back when they went for final licensure and basically said you have to go back through the entire process. We're not going to validate your license, and that ended up is a 12-week process for them to regain their license for the same salons they operated less than 6 months ago. So PS Salon will be coming back. I've met with them. They will be, as soon as their license is available, to be back on site. Unfortunately, that time frame started much later than I anticipated, even they anticipated. I have been badgering them to make sure that they're badgering the state, because sometimes, the squeaky wheel will get the oil. But 12 weeks is what they're telling me.
So it's July now?
Mm-hmm. So again, we have been doing lift rides within 10 miles. No, I'm just kidding. Lift rides to salons and things of that nature with no charge. Again, the salon at Downer has received a lot of our business.
I
Which-
walked there.
Okay. See?
You should get credit for that,
Yeah.
right?
So yes, more information to come, but yeah, much longer than I anticipated. But that will be at the State of the Castle, a salon update. So the other update that you didn't receive, but my employees received, and you probably noticed today that all the staff are back in face masks. If you didn't know, Friday, Milwaukee County came out with a mask advisory for public institutions to go back to masking. And so, although we are private and we have, no cases at this moment of COVID-19 in our community, still felt it was, necessary for our staff to go back into masks no matter where they were. At this point, residents are not required to be in masks. I strongly encourage it, of course, for your own health and safety, but that is at your determination. There has not been a mask mandate put back into place in Milwaukee County. So obviously if that comes into play, or if for some reason we have a sudden increase in COVID-19 cases, then you would have to go back into masks. At this time, I don't foresee that. And I do know that some of you will just say, well, I'm not doing that, regardless of what you say, Tyler, and that's your choice. This is your home, but I will provide the guidance. So staff don't have that. Leeway. You do. So again, that's why you didn't see a memo yesterday about mask guidance or anything like that. I do know that I've seen more residents with masks on, but at this time, I have no reason to shut down activities or dining or anything like that. It is up to you, but for staff standpoint, they will be wearing masks for at least, through June 15th at minimum. Milwaukee didn't put out an end date for their advisory. I need to keep giving my employees some light at the end of the tunnel. Healthcare has been in masks this entire time. So that's just one COVID update. Again, the other COVID update is there's no current staff or residents with COVID-19 in the building. Yes?
The doors were shut between, I don't know how to describe it exactly.
Yep.
Down, where you
Around the D elevator.
Now they're open with,
Wood blocks.
what happened that they're open with wood blocks?
So again, that was more of a convenience / we were testing going through some state or city inspections with the doors, and those doors technically should be closed for the majority of the time. And so I just know that I've had a number of resident concerns pushing those open, and for the other side of safety of opening up the door with somebody on the other side you can't see. So those will be taken care of with the renovations. So do you want them open? Do you want them closed? We can do it either way.
What doors are you talking
The
about?
doors by the D elevator. So when you walk into the first floor of the historic building, if you go towards the fitness center, if you're using those 2 stairs to get up to that level by Eric's
Those
office.
doors have been closed, they
Yeah.
were always open.
Yep, and now we're back to open
Oh, good. Why did we close them?
for inspection.
Oh, you cheated.
I cheated.
Okay. I like cheating.
One of the problems, Tyler, is that during the scare of the norovirus, having those doors closed means that everybody's touching the same thing.
Correct.
And so when they're open, you can walk through without touching anything.
That's a good point.
And so it's not only the ease of walking and not hitting somebody, but also not touching.
Good point, Jim. Absolutely. So, what else?
Oh, I brought it up before, but the dining room, I'm just confused if, independent living resident is sitting at the dining room table, has 24-hour help, but it's the people at her table that cut up her food and wind up. She requests to be pulled up in her wheelchair, and the resident shouldn't do that.
Correct.
Right.
And we've had a number of conversations again with caregivers in that respect. So yeah, residents shouldn't be doing that,
Right.
and the caregiver should be keeping a more watchful eye.
And then they can go in and cut
Absolutely.
up food and.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, they can.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I understood that the kitchen does it sometimes.
The kitchen can do it if they're aware of it, but that isn't necessarily what is supposed to be happening either. But the kitchen will cut up food, and for anybody, I mean, if you have dental work or something done as well, it's a one-time thing. You can have your food be asked cut up. Not, we don't want to go pureed in the independent food guy. We have the capabilities, but
So they should be in sight.
yes,
Caregivers, yeah,
correct.
they all.
Tyler, you
Yes.
have the results.
Talking about always,
What's that?
they always have to be in sight.
It should be. I mean, if they need that much assistance,
Well, and they're being paid.
right?
Yeah.
Have the results been announced yet for the healthcare center inspection?
The announcement has not been made yet. Lindsay will be sharing that on Thursday. I can share with you. The state will not. Just for everybody's reference. So the state of Wisconsin came in unannounced on Monday to do our annual survey of our skilled nursing area. So skilled nursing follows, over 600 regulations on a day-to-day basis that are issued by the government that we have to abide by, so to speak. And the state comes in once a year to review that, sometimes more, depending on the building. And there's levels of citations, so to speak. And I can share with you that there were no high-level citations given, meaning that there was no harm to be found. There's no money penalties that often are associated with those, citations. So again, all what we call low level. So low level meaning paperwork. I'll give you an example. A discharge paperwork. So if somebody discharges from the skilled nursing, there's one piece of paper, it's called the transfer sheet, that has to be signed off where they're going. The transfer sheet was written, however, the order changed within the last 24 hours from, we'll just use the example of from Harbor Chase to the Catholic home. they still had Harbor Chase on the transfer sheet, and the family decided to go to the Catholic home. They gave us a citation on that paperwork, piece of paper, so to speak. It didn't involve any care. The nurse still gave nurse-to-nurse report to the right nurse. The medications were still transferred over. The physician orders were all transferred over. Everything was done except for that one sheet that instead had, and it went with the resident to the Catholic home. It just had, the wrong facility on it, right? That's an example of a citation that we got. So again, overall, from a quality of care standpoint, no medication errors on the medication passes that were found. No sanitation issues in the kitchen. All the food temperatures were accurate and to code. And again, a lot of it was paperwork, so to speak. So Lindsay will share the full results. You can also probably buy. We also haven't received our official document of citations. We exited with them, so we kind of have an idea of what that's going to be, but until we get that document, which we hope will be this week, we can't say for certain, but that is a publicly available document that you can view. I can also say that our star rating should not be impacted. We'll still remain a 5-star facility. So overall, it was definitely one of the more difficult surveys that we've had. Last year, we didn't receive any deficiencies. I can say that we will receive deficiencies this year. But again, it's interesting based on the survey team as well. But our team did perform very, very well. The surveyors commented on the hospitality shown towards them and also the responsiveness of our staff to get them. And Lindsay did a really nice job in leading that team. So we'll have the official results hopefully by the State of the Castle.
Okay, thank you.
And that's 4 and 5 only, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Third floor was surveyed within the last 8 months, 6 months actually. And we received 1 deficiency on the third floor. Okay, so.
What in the remodel, what is, and maybe this has been, everybody knows this, but I didn't hear it. The mail room, is it moving or is it gonna stay there? Is it being remodeled?
So,
and what's gonna happen to the mail?
Good question. No.
We're gonna send all the bills to you.
Yeah, I'm gonna be your mail delivery person.
I thought you
No.
said Gary was gonna personally deliver all
Yes,
that.
and I'm glad that you heard that. So the question is about mail. What are we doing during construction, and what's that mailroom gonna look like? Is it gonna be there? So the mailroom will remain there. It will actually expand slightly. We'll be adding mailboxes because obviously we're getting 30 new apartments. There's also new code that we aren't current with, and as soon as we touch the mailroom, we have to get up to code. Is as opposed to like the size of the boxes. So now with Amazon and the deliveries, I would say no. No, I'm just kidding. So we have to redo the lock boxes in there as well. But the mailroom will go under construction. It won't be in this first phase. It'll actually be probably in October-ish, if I was a guessing guy. And then I don't know what we're doing with mail. Gary's gonna deliver it.
We've got a lot of months to figure it
Yeah,
out.
we have a couple months to figure it out. You will still get mail. I just don't know what that exactly looks like because the mailroom will have to go down for a time to get renovated. But yeah, in the interim, this first phase, the June 6th, the mailroom is accessible and available, and Gary will continue to go there. But at some point, Gary's, I guess I should probably tell him that he's got to deliver it by door to door so he can tell his supervisor and work through that. But yeah, good question. I don't have the answer. I will have the answer before for that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, any question's a good question.
Yeah, because I don't know the answers.
Well, it says Tuesdays and Thursday for eating or having a buffet.
Mm-hmm.
It means we just go in and pick up, what we want or what?
So, good question. So, the dining program, which Majarka will go back through, and I know that there's a couple newsletters forthcoming. So, as Buddy mentioned, Tuesdays and Thursdays, there's going to be a buffet. The buffet will be in Lindsay Hall. We are asking for reservations, but that way you can go in, take what you want, sit down with others, and have a regular meal in Lindsay Hall. Yep, take what you want. In true buffet fashion. On Saturdays, there will be in the club room a buffet, but it'll be more of the grab and go buffet, meaning that you'll go through a buffet line of the specials, and then you can either eat that in the club room, or we're looking at different spots throughout the community that you could dine with friends if that's so choose. Then on the nights that it's not offered, buffet is not offered, it'll be the to-go menu where you can pick up at certain times, or we will deliver at no charge to your room.
That's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yes, and Sunday.
And, okay.
So there's going to be, again, we know June 6th is going to be an interesting week, as well as June the following week. So, but I have full confidence in Majarka and the team to walk through that. Starting on Friday, probably June 3rd, I believe is that Friday.
Yes.
You will see that the continental breakfast will shift, and the juice machine, an ice and water dispenser, as well as a coffee machine will be put over in the club room. And then that will take the place of your continental breakfast that you see on Monday mornings. Everything will be over there, and the coffee, water, and juice will be available to you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So, yes.
The reason I'm asking, I've been to a couple of events that have been a buffet thing, and because of the COVID protocol, things have been served to you.
Yep.
I mean, you can take what you want. So is there going to be people dishing it out, or?
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. Staff will still be serving you. They'll be behind the lines. Help saying, whatever you would like, but yes, gloved and with the proper protocols. And then again, if you need some assistance getting the plate to your table or whatnot, they will still be there. So we will still have staff, Mary, Sam, everybody will be there, because we'll still have to help, obviously bus the tables, as well as get your drink orders and things of that nature. So yes, good point.
Is this on the regular plates?
Yes, it will be on the regular plates. The only thing that won't be on the regular plates.
It's like in grade school.
Yeah.
It's probably salad.
You never know.
Salad.
It might be in those.
Yeah,
it's gonna be
salad, soup, and fruit, or I'm sorry, I should say or salad and soup, salad or fruit, soup and fruit. You'll always have two of those offered each
How
night.
to carry all that?
Not all of it at one time.
Not all of it at one time, and we'll have staff to help.
That's gonna be a mess.
Or you can try balancing, plate here, going on that side, or you can have like a carrier in front of you. No.
Tyler and Hunter will be helping.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hunter will demolish everything.
Lucky people with walkers, they can carry.
Put it right on that.
Well, and again, that's why our staff will be there. Again, the servers will have a little bit different role. Instead of going back and forth to the kitchen, they'll be more kind of floating and things of that nature. But they'll still be there. We're not looking to decrease staff during this time or anything like that. So, we still have a level of expectation, and that's why we have the setup we have, to still provide and provide a higher quality meal for you.
Speaking of the changing the library
Mm-hmm.
in the fireplace room, where are the libraries going to be? I know that's going to be the main library, but where are there libraries other places?
Yes. So you have the library where the fireplace room is right now, what we call a fireplace room. That will be the main library.
Yeah.
Then we'll have a library and books up on the second floor lobby area across from Mike Brever's office. We're adding bookshelves there. And
How big will that be?
it'll be sizable. You know, it's definitely not as big as the main one, but there'll be bookshelves on both sides, and then also a little bit, you know, on the L's, and then we'll have some soft seating up there and some space.
Okay,
Yep.
there'll be seating.
Yep, there'll be seating. And then obviously the boardroom will be right to the left of there that we're looking at changing a little bit as well.
Where's the country store going to be?
On the first floor,
Good.
right next to where the Welcome Center 2 is right now. So if you're going down the right-hand side there, it'll be right on your right-hand side.
Yeah, because that food is not moving on the second floor. The candy, you can use it as a door
Yeah.
stopper.
Oh.
So
It's
old
old.
and not fresh at all.
Okay.
So the first floor, you get more customers.
Yep. So that's where the general store is going to be. And then there'll also be a library. Don't quote me on what floor. There's a library in the water tower building itself as well. I want to say it's on the second floor of the water tower building. There'll be another library space for residents. So
The one by the fitness center, will it be gone?
I think that changes into more of a card room type of space.
Okay.
So
Next to the fitness.
don't quote me on that. And I think that's the other thing. There is still some, once we get the space back and you as residents are like, well, we really want it to be this, we can still make it that, even if it's planned for this, if that makes sense. So yeah, I believe so. I don't believe we keep the library on the first floor of the historic by the fitness center. So we'll have 3 different library spaces.
So will exercises still take place in Lindsay Hall, or will everything be down in the fitness center?
Are you saying
Like-
before or after the renovations?
After.
After, again, it's gonna depend on how large the wellness classes get.
Okay.
So we will have space to do wellness classes down in the fitness center itself. But if we have more than, I'd say probably 8, 6 might be comfortable, 8 would be a little tight down there. If we have more than 8 people in a fitness class, we would have to move to Lindsay Hall, most likely, so.
How is that space changing?
The fitness center, quite a bit. The locker rooms are getting remodeled. That large desk that is not used is gone. That kind of alcove space is completely open. The massage room changes, as well as some storage, and the office changes as well. So you get more fitness center.
So the aquarium goes.
The aquarium's
gone.
gone.
It's been going.
Yeah. We had an aquarium in the fitness center. And then the pool also gets complete new surface and everything like that. So that leads into another topic of conversation that is where do we do fitness, right? And so I actually just had a meeting with Jordan, our project manager, and he's looking at potentially the creativity center was going to be done at the same time. We might fast track that so we can have that as square footage and potentially use that as the quasi fitness space, so we can put a treadmill and maybe a bike there so that can be available. And then Stacy, Willie, and I will be visiting a fitness gym with a pool off-site in the interim, and then we will end up transporting residents to that space and fitness area so you can still have access to the pool and things of that nature. Because unfortunately, the fitness center will be down for the duration of the water tower project since it's all in one building. So.
You mean you go to this other fitness center any hour of the day or just one time?
Well, for those that would be able to drive, it would be open at any time, but we would have scheduled transportation so that you wouldn't have to. But
So it's not within walking distance?
there isn't one within walking distance really. Unless you know of one, please let me know. But the pool is really what I was focused on. Of course, I could work with the Catholic home and probably get to their fitness center. But again, something that has been more prevalent is what about the pool? How can I still get to the pool? And that's where we have to go offsite, as you know, Catholic home does not have one. So yeah. And we also wanted, another piece is we wanted to make sure that the fitness area that we partnered with had senior aquatic classes or aquatic classes offered that you could also take part in, since a lot of residents take part in the aquatic classes. So trying to get like for like, obviously it's not going to be. And again, once that happens, I mean, again, the task is to get it done as quickly as possible, as best as possible. So it's a little bit further down the road. Definitely a lot more time to discuss that with residents, with the wellness committee, incorporate a few more ideas, but that's kind of the ideas that we've come up with so far.
Starting when for the pool?
January? December? And I did say that we can maybe jump in the lake, but it's a little cold. Yeah.
Have you been told that, go jump in the lake?
I have a couple times. So yeah. But you know, that does bring up the other point of construction, and again, kind of some of those pressure pain points, whatever you want to call them, you know, really starting in June. But I think again, the focus for me that sometimes gets lost is kind of that end result, you know, and the end result of what we will have, the amenities that we're bringing on, the different spaces that we'll have available for the long term. And so, as with any construction project, there sometimes are some of those painful moments, you know, but hopefully they are just moments, and we'll, before we know it, we'll be sitting somewhere else having a coffee with Tyler, and you know.
And we don't know where that'll be.
Because right now we're in an apartment. Because right now, well, we'll know what time.
Okay.
Well, I can say that. We'll know what time. Because right now we're sitting in an apartment, so that's probably not where they want us to have the coffee with Tyler. So maybe they will. I don't know. Who knows? So, but 24 out of the 30 apartments are spoken for.
Wow.
That's great.
So,
That's incredible.
and 82 of the 82 apartments that are currently available are spoken for.
That's great.
So
That's
we
amazing.
do not have any room left in the inn, as they say. But we'll always take friends, and as soon as, you know, obviously there's 6 apartments that are still available for friends, or family or whoever, and again, upon our you know, an apartment opening, there's someone that can be a new neighbor. So.
What's gonna be the status of the guest rooms when construction starts?
So the guest rooms, obviously, once the water tower building goes down, the guest rooms come down with it. However, we will have at least a guest room available during construction. Then after that, again, at least a guest room will be available. So again, working through those logistics a little bit yet, Jim. But yeah.
But there will be at least one in the future.
Correct.
Any chance it'll be 2?
A guest room will be available. I hope for 2. I'm just trying to logistically think where we're going to get that second one. So, but that's, to be honest, that's kind of where I said I'm going to sit down with general contractor here this week, because you know, those things start running through my mind, like what might have been missed, you know, and again, I like to think that we have a lot of great things that are coming, but with anything, there's a lot, right? And so again, that's where I just want to make sure if they said if there is anything that we need to add, time is of the essence, because that time is it's much more expensive and harder to do after it's all put together.
So Tyler, is this the first time in a long time that there's no room in the inn?
Yes.
That's great.
I've been here for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
We were 100% sold for 2 days. And then unfortunately, an apartment emptied out, but that was 4 years ago. And so that was actually when Bill Eason was here yet, if you remember Bill. And we had 2 days where we could say we were 100% sold. But then, an apartment opened up. So yeah, but the marketing team has been doing a really, really nice job and welcomed in new neighbors. So that we're very, very happy to have.
How about storage?
Storage for
Us,
you.
yes.
You have storage right now, correct?
Well,
But it's kind of
Yeah.
limited, is what you're
it's on
saying?
the 4th floor and I'm on the 2nd floor.
Yes.
You're lucky.
Mine was historic.
Yeah, that's something internally we're working through.
And new people too.
Yeah, the new people will have storage units that
Oh.
will be a little bit easier to find. They'll be in the building that they occupy. Somewhere in the history of East Castle since 2006, we've kind of mixed and matched, and I know that's a headache for you. It's also a headache for us to try and track down and things. So again, Cooper and Alyssa have been trying to, as people are leaving and coming in, trying to reorganize to the best. And Miss Buddy, if there's something that comes available on the 2nd floor, we'll try to get you there.
Okay.
All right? Of course. What else?
Do you have a waiting list for people who want to move here?
Question about wait list. Yes, we do. We do have a wait list. It's called our Thomas Tradition. I think there's 18 people on that wait list, which we've always there's been people on that wait list for 5 years. So and again, when they have their selected apartment become available, they get offered it. If they say no, essentially they have 3 times, and then they kind of go to the bottom of the list for offering. But yeah, I think it's at 18. I could be wrong, but but yes, we do have a wait list.
If someone who lives here now wants one of them apartments, when it becomes available, do they get preference?
So, question, back to you, Liv, to help me understand a little bit more. So are you saying on one of the new 30 apartments,
No.
or just any apartment?
Any apartment?
So you have to be on the wait list. You have to have selected. So we have current residents that are on wait list currently for that selected apartment. And yes, when you move in, you do get first choice at it.
But you have to be on the list.
But you have to be on the list, exactly. So, and then obviously if there is a change or a difference in entrance fee, difference in monthly service fee, all of those pieces obviously come into play. But yes, we do have current residents that are on the wait list, so to speak, for their selected apartment.
How do you get on this list?
You speak with marketing, Anna or Heidi. So. What else?
Well, Friday night, there were 4 people sitting at a table that I didn't recognize, and so hospitality I just took it upon myself to walk over and introduce myself. And I thought it would be nice if maybe a resident had been sitting with them. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the special parts about East Castle Place. And usually Mary and Sam or somebody from the hospitality committee do that. So it's interesting that there was 4.
So Barry was one name, and I think they have bought in
Salmons?
Salmons?
Yep.
And could it be Lipton? I don't know, but I did go over and then Woodard's and another couple were sitting next to them, and I just said, why don't we all say hello to them because they were alone.
Oh, well, thank you.
And they did,
Yeah.
Lynn got up and went over there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, she
yeah,
did.
she did come up. Yeah, I thought that one of them said that they were just starting the process of looking and thinking.
That might have been, you mean Friday night?
Yeah, that, the four who was.
Yeah, and so.
One is bought in, for
Yeah.
sure.
Right, and so maybe it was the cup, because the Salmons are a couple that are moving in here soon, and then maybe they brought two
Maybe.
guests, so.
Sure.
And that could very well be, but I know that
Okay.
Sam and Mary usually do a good job of making
Okay.
sure that,
Yeah.
if they want to be
Sure, of
Um,
course.
paired together, so. Yeah, appreciate the hospitality as always.
Well, maybe I'll just add my 2 cents on that.
Sure.
I've been here 6 weeks today,
Congratulations.
minus 5 days. And I had 3 brief visits here. I was out shopping for a retirement community with a friend and landed here in October and got on the list for the new apartments, thinking that maybe I'll be ready to move someplace in fall of '23. Anyway, I was here a few times and had a taste for how outgoing and friendly people were. But in the 6 weeks I've been here, I'm just overwhelmed. Good overwhelmed. And with the shopping I've done, I just would like everybody to know this place is really special. There's a lot of stuff that goes on here that is not going on other facilities out there.
It's good.
So it's, as somebody who used to live here said to me, you came to a really good place. And she be right.
Well, thank you. I like to think so too, but I'm kind of biased, so.
I hope you are.
All right, anything else?
Yeah.
What's going on, Betty?
Something private.
Private? Okay, we'll chat after, Betty, absolutely. Always available for
I
those.
guess that doesn't need to be, but
Okay.
private.
Yeah,
Talk to you.
sure.
Well, in following up on what you said, I wonder how many places have a meeting with the director as often as we do to be kept informed of what's going on or a chance to ask for our opinions. I really appreciate that, Tyler.
Well, thank you. Again, you know how I view East Castle. I mean, obviously it's very special to me and to all of you, but you're the largest reason why it's special, and so that's what I'm here for. If I'm not here for you, what am I doing? You know, sure, there's things that you should expect me to do, but at the end of the day, I'm here for you because that's why I'm here. You know, without you, I don't really have a job. So, but no, I mean, it's also, it gives me the opportunity to see you, to kind of get a feel and to know what's on your mind. Because oftentimes I've learned it sometimes saves me in the back end too, you know? Because if I make a decision, again, and I have great intentions and I think it's the best one and it makes no sense for you as residents, it's much easier to learn that on the front side than it is to implement it and then learn on the back side.
And you can be sure we'll tell you.
Yeah, exactly. and that's what I love about these. I mean, again, it's I want you to feel comfortable. You know, and again, there's some things that my hands are tied and we just have to go forward with and you know, work together and, you know, work through that too. But ultimately, I think there's always room to accommodate in one way or another. So yeah.
Is there any way of condensing the amount of distribution of information?
That might go back to the communications committee. Condensing the number of things that is shared. I don't know.
Well, yeah, because there's so many different places we have to go to look at or delivered to our door or on the elevator, and they're not all, you know.
But I think some of the survey asking your opinion of that, yes.
It is on there and I had the same comment.
Yeah, it asks you about all those things,
Yeah.
And I just want to say that for that,
There's too many places.
for the communication survey, we got, everybody on the committee got a email from Joe last night or maybe this morning saying something like, wow, we have our work cut out
Yeah.
for us.
Yeah.
So it is. It's
The
recognized
problem
as
with the
a,
elevator,
what?
there's things, or changes on the elevator, is that I'm trying to read everything that's on that elevator, and then my door, the door opens, I have to get out, and I can't hold the door open.
Yes,
Right up and down
till
you read it all.
You can hold it open, just push the little arrow button.
Yeah, well, not forever,
Well,
it's not.
You
There
have to stand
also,
there and memorize.
there also may be
But then everybody else has
opportunities,
to wait for the elevator.
there also may be opportunities for people who use online services to get a lot of information online,
Yeah.
signing up for dinner,
Mhm.
all kinds of stuff, so we'll look at all of that.
That's a good idea.
That
Yeah.
would really be.
But I do think you need to tell people in various ways, because
Oh, yeah.
everybody,
Oh, no, I
you know,
know,
you can't read, or
Right.
one
No,
thing or
it's not
another,
for
yeah.
everybody, but
So
for a portion of people.
as long as they say the same thing.
Yes.
That's
This is
the
another issue.
that's the piece that's the
Yes.
tough part.
Yes, that's
So
key.
Tyler, we signed up for Portal on the computer quite a while ago. Is that up to date?
Are you speaking about Touchtown Portal? Or what portal?
On the when you can go to the portal on the computer to say how many points I have left.
Oh, you're speaking about full count.
Full count.
Yeah, so that's one piece that not many people are using, because and so that
They
is.
don't know about?
Or they don't know about it, and so, what Carol is bringing up is on full count, you can log in to see the points and things of that nature, but it's kind of cumbersome to
Is
get
it
in
up to
there.
date though if I went in there?
Should be,
Because they didn't recognize my
Well,
password.
I can never get in it.
yeah,
Maybe it's just me.
No, I couldn't either.
but,
But you get the slip every day,
Yeah.
and it says
No,
on there.
that's beside the point.
yeah. Let me circle back with Majarka on that,
Okay.
'cause I'm not familiar enough with that to know
Right.
if it's up to date, how do you get there, if your password's expired, who can update your password, is it
Right.
you?
Right.
So,
Because
It
in
was
the
nice of
mailroom, it goes
Majorca to add that press one if you
Oh,
want
yeah.
to skip the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah,
He
real
did that
time
immediately
saver.
after somebody
Oh,
looked it
yes.
up.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's
That
wonderful.
helps.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you.
Yeah.
and then you forget what you're on the phone for.
Yeah.
That happens to me all the
Or
time.
what I was gonna order.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just have to listen to the message, you know?
Go through it all again,
All right.
The only thing
That
that's
was great.
on this, what you were talking
The
about?
portal?
Yes.
I'm calling it a portal.
Yeah, it's only for the full count. Full count is that meal monitor or meal system that prints out your receipt. That's the full count is how we get that receipt. And
That's the
what-
only thing that's on.
that's the only thing. So basically,
It
it's
might be moot.
it might be, but yeah, I'll still follow up. Anything else? All right. Well, thanks everybody. We'll see
Thank
everybody
you.
Thursday.